الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. أما بعد, my brothers and sisters, I think we are with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we started with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he came to the Medina and started to build the country, to build the community, to build the nation of Muslims. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he started building and constructing the Masjid in Nabawi, at the same time he's building the society of Muslims. And last week we talked about the importance of how the Prophet ﷺ was his own relationship with the people. Not to be top down, rather than to have a very good relationship with all the people. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll talk about another perspective which is very important, which is the relationship among how the Prophet ﷺ built relationship among the Muslims. To give you a little bit introduction about the background, you see that the Muslims at that time, you have the Muslims who are al-Muhajirin, the immigrants, the one who came with the Prophet ﷺ from Mecca to Medina. And if you want to understand them, you know, those people in Mecca, not all of them are poor. Some of them were very rich. However, even they were rich, they left all of their properties, money in Mecca, and then they left alone just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save their religion, right? And then they came to the Medina to stay there. And in Medina they don't have anything. No houses, no place to stay, no money, no business, everything is different. And if you look at the people who are Ansar, the one who in Medina, and the one who believed in the Prophet ﷺ, and the one who embraced Islam, it's their own country, it's their own place, and they already have their own businesses, they have houses, everything is settled down, which means that there is a huge difference, a gap between them. And then the Prophet ﷺ here, he did very interesting initiatives, which is al-mu'akha, to make a brotherhood, a brother's relationship between al-Ansar and al-Muhajirin. The Prophet ﷺ selected 45 people from al-Muhajirin and 45 people from al-Ansar. And then smartly the Prophet ﷺ made a good relationship between each two brothers, one from al-Ansar and one from al-Muhajirin. Subhanallah, which means that you have like about 45 brothers, right? And definitely the Prophet ﷺ was very careful when selecting each person to each. Subhanallah. This is something that we need to learn, and especially we are here living in Japan, in this country, like a lot of Muslims are not from this country. How much do we make a good relationship among each other? Introducing people, networking. Yes, we are talking about Islam. Subhanallah, nowadays we are talking about the importance of networking and making, especially for the people who are expatriates, living in different countries. The Prophet ﷺ started and it was very good in shape. And the Prophet ﷺ used to introduce people accordingly, very smartly, not like arbitrarily introducing people. And then I'm asking myself and all of you, you know that there are brothers who are in need for something, and at the same time you know people who can help them. Are you introducing each one? Subhanallah, I do understand that sometimes for some of us it make troubles. You introduce one person to other person and then you have troubles and then those troubles come back to you, right? It happens. So some people would give up and say, no, I'm not going to introduce anyone to anyone. I want to have peace in my mind. But it's not the Islamic way. We should do our efforts to introduce people as well, to follow up. Not only introducing like, this person to that person and then they have troubles and then you say, no, I just introduced you, you have to solve your problems by yourself. You go and you try to mediate between them to make sure everything, you follow up this relationship. The Prophet ﷺ built very strong relationship in the community. That's why the community was very strong and then they flourished in many different perspectives. This brotherhood is not only about emotion, it was about emotion, it was about economy, it was about education, a lot of things. And inshallah ta'ala we'll have a lot of examples because this is really important, and especially for us, for the Muslims who are living in Japan, we can learn a lot. One of the examples, subhanAllah, which is related to the education, Umar radiallahu anhu and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam made a relationship as a brothers between Umar radiallahu anhu and Itban bin Malik. And both of them, they announced they are brothers, so they are taking care of each other. Then you know what they have decided? They said, look, we need to divide the time between me and you so that half of the time you go to the Prophet ﷺ and you learn from the Prophet ﷺ. You stay with the Prophet ﷺ and you learn. And then half of the time I will go. And when I'm absent, whatever you learn, you teach me. And when you are absent, whatever you learn from the Prophet ﷺ, I will teach you. SubhanAllah. This is good brotherhood. Whatever you learn from the Prophet ﷺ, you teach me while I'm absent, while I'm doing my business. SubhanAllah, look how they made the balance, good balance between their own personal life and between getting the education and learning from the Prophet ﷺ, dividing the time. You don't need to stay the whole time with the Prophet ﷺ. You have to do your business. You cannot stay in the masjid all the time. You have to go to the masjid. One time, a man was staying in the masjid all the time. You know, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu, and he was the Khalifa at that time, and then he saw this man like just staying in the masjid. He came to him and said, what you are doing here? Like, now is the time not for the prayers. Why you are staying in the masjid? He didn't have any job. Then Umar radiallahu anhu, he did not kick him out, but almost kicked him out from the masjid. Go work. This is not the time for prayers. You go work. So we need to have this good balance between our life, our economic life, our work, as well the masjid. So here is a very good example from Umar bin Khattab and Itban bin Malik radiallahu anhum, both of them, to alternatively to go to the Prophet ﷺ and to learn and educate each other. A man as well, or few people came from Ansar, and this is about the economy. They came to the Prophet ﷺ and then they said to the Prophet ﷺ, there are a lot of people from Ansar who used to work in agriculture, which means that they have a lot of agriculture lands. So they came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, divide the lands. Shall we divide the lands, give half of our lands to the people from Al-Muhajirin? SubhanAllah. Look, we give them half. I have a land and they are coming from Mecca, so I will give half of my land to them, to my brother. How is it? Look, the Prophet ﷺ, even the Prophet ﷺ makes sure that they have a good relationship, but that does not mean to divide the properties. and the ownership of the things. Rather than what the Prophet ﷺ suggested, very interesting relationship. He said, instead of that, let them work in your land and then you would divide the fruits that you get. So you keep the ownership of the property, the land, to you. However, you help them and then they will help you working. And then whatever you get fruits, you just divide it between you and them. SubhanAllah. Finding a good job and having a good partnership. It's not about only, this is my brother, so I have to give him everything. Everything's all my property to him. No. And we will have a lot of examples about this as well. Another beautiful example, even the time is short, so maybe we can just finish with this example. Abdul Rahman bin Auf. And he was a brother of Sa'd bin Rabi'a. The Prophet ﷺ made them brothers. So Abdul Rahman bin Auf, and he was very rich in Mecca, and he was a very good businessman. So when he came to the Medina, the Prophet ﷺ made him a brother to Sa'd bin Rabi'a. And then Sa'd bin Rabi'a as well, he was very rich. So Sa'd bin Rabi'a said to Abdul Rahman bin Auf, I have a lot of wealth, so I want to divide everything 50-50 between me and you. And even like he said, even this is very extreme, like I have two wives, if you want I would divorce one so that you can get married as well. Then Abdul Rahman bin Auf said, I don't need all of this. I just want from you, tell me one thing. What's it? He said to him, you teach me where is the market. Market is the place where you can buy and sell and do business trading. I said, yeah, this is something very simple, easy, yes. Then he taught him, subhanAllah, look, people who has a business relationship, they understand how the things are going there. So he introduced to Abdul Rahman bin Auf where is the market, and then Abdul Rahman started to do the business by himself. A few days ago, he was super rich. Even he got married, and the Prophet ﷺ was very surprised that he could get married very easily. Time is short, so inshallah ta'ala we are going to finish here, and then let's continue this topic because it's quite important and we indeed need this. Inshallah ta'ala next week. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله فيقول المستغفر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. 皆さん兄弟姉妹今日の話また預言者ムハンマドsallallahu alaihi wasallamについてお話ししたいんです。前回は預言者ムハンマドsallallahu alaihi wasallamマディナに来て、そしたらマスジドナバウィ建てたりとか、また社会の関係もやっぱり社会も作れないといけないんですね。で前回はお話ししてたのは預言者ムハンマドsallallahu alaihi wasallamリーダーとしては皆さんとどういう関係を結んだっていうことだったんですね。どういうリーダーシップだったっていうことですね。で今日は横の前回は縦の関係だったんですけど、今日は横の関係ですね。社会の中ではどういうふうにつながりがあったっていうことですね。どういうふうに人間関係を作ったっていうことです。でちょっと背景を説明すると、ムスリムっていう社会は基本的にマッカから来てた人、移住してた人たち、アルムハジリンと呼ばれてて、あとはアルアンサー、もともとマディーナの人たちですね、ムスリムになった人たち。でこのムハジリンとアンサーは見ると、アルムハジリンの場合はマッカから来てた人たちはみんなお金がない貧しい人わけではないです。お金持ちの方もたくさんいたんですが、ただし彼らは持ってたものはお金や全部マッカの方を残してたじゃないですか。ですね。一方で、家もないし、持ってたお金もなくなってたし、でマディーナの辛いじゃないですか。一方でマディーナの人たちは、アルアンサーの方は自分の家持ってるし、お金とか仕事とかもやってるじゃないですか。そうすると、多層 そうはたくさん出てしまいますね。そうするといろんなまずいことが出てしまいます。そしたら預言者ムハンマドサララルサとてもいいことをやったんですね。アルムワハ、アラビア語でと言われるんですけども、兄弟の関係を作りました。アルアンサーの人たちとアルムハジリンの人たちの関係を二人あなたたちはもう兄弟、今日からあなたは兄弟になりますっていうことを言ったんです。選んだのはアルアンサーから45人、またアルムハジリンから45人で一人一人、スブハナアラー、もちろん全体的にムスリム人たちは預言者ムハンマドサララーアリワサ教えてくれた通りにみんなは兄弟ですね。兄弟なんですけども、預言者ムハンマドサララー特に一人と一人、二人の個人関係を結ぶっていうことはもう重要ですね。私たちは今パレスチナの人たちに対してはみんなは私たちの兄弟助けないといけないっていうこともあるんですけども、でもやっぱり誰かと一人の関係になると、個人関係になるとさらに強くなってきますね。スブハナアラー、預言者ムハンマドサララーよく考えてて一人一人を選んで合わせたわけです。当然性格とかよく預言者ムハンマドサララー考えて選んだわけなんですね。でそしたらこの兄弟からいろんなことを生まれてきたわけです。で経済的な面ももちろんお互いに助け合うこともあったし、教育でありとか社会的にとかいろんないいところがあったわけなんです。例えばウマルビン・ハッタブラディアランとイトバン・ビン・マリ様と預言者ムハンマドサララー兄弟としても言ったんですね。そしたらウマルビン・ハッタブ様とイトバン・ビン・マリラディアラン様は2人は順番に預言者ムハンマドサララー付き合って、でイトバンは預言者ムハンマドサララー一緒にいる時にウマルビン・ハッタブは仕事をしています。そしたら順番変わるとウマルビン・ハッタブは預言者ムハンマドサララー一緒にいて免許学んで、そのうちにイトバンは仕事をしています。そうするとお互いでまた学んだ預言者ムハンマドサララー学んだことはいない方に教えてあげる。そうするとずっと2人は預言者ムハンマドサララーから学ぶこともできるし、あとは自分の仕事もできるわけなんですね。スブハナアラー、いろいろ生まれてきたわけです。またアルアンサーの人たちは預言者ムハンマドサララー持ってたものとか、マディーナはよく農業の仕事をしてたんですね。で農地を持ってた人たちは、じゃあ私はそのアルムハジリンに半分渡しますか、あげますかっていうことですね。そしたら預言者ムハンマドサララーいや、それはいらないんですよ、半分分ける必要ないんですが、ただしその農地で一緒に仕事してて、そしたら出てきたものフルーツの方はそれは半分分けたらどうですかということですね。スブハナアラー、やっぱり地主さんとしてはその関係は変わらないんですけれども、ただ出たものとしては仕事を与えるということですね。でそしたらできた収入は分けましょうということです。スブハナアラー、素晴らしい関係ですね。ちょっと今日は時間は短いなんですけど、ここで終わらしたいんですが、ただこれに関してはまた来週インシャアラーゆっくりお話はしたいんです。で私たちは今日本にいるムスリム人たちとしてはこれはすごい似てるところがあります。外国人が多いでしょう。そしたらやっぱり日本人と付き合うこともとても重要だし、いい関係を結ばないといけないんですね。で今私たちはできるのはやはり預言者ムハンマドサララーやった通りに人を紹介してちゃんといい骨を結ばないといけないんですね。スブハナアラー、友達はこういうこと困ってるんですけど他の友達はいるから助けてくれるように紹介すればとかどうですか。この方はこのところでこの分野で困ってるんですけど他の方は助けるとか、あとは商売に関してとかお客さん紹介したりとかどうですか。従業員を紹介したりとかどうですか。それはいろいろできるでしょう。私たちはこういうネットワーキングやらないと作れないといけないんですよ。それは預言者ムハンマドサララー教えてくれたことですよ。それもスンナになるから大切にしましょう。なるべくみんな困ってる人を助けるようにいろんな人を紹介したり、確かに紹介すると 責任はあるわけなんですね。もしかしては紹介した人は喧嘩になってしまうっていうとかトラブルに発生することあるかもしれないんですけども、ただしそれをじゃあもうやめます、誰も紹介しませんっていうのは、それはムスリムのやり方じゃないんですよ。ムスリムであればちゃんと紹介してからトラブルが発生しないようにもうフォローアップしてください。なるべくいい関係を結ぶまでにあなたは頑張ってちゃんと両方こう指導してください。そうするとどんどん社会の関係は強くなってくるわけなんです。インシャアラータアラそれも日本にいるムスリムの社会もどんどん強くなってくるようにお願いします。أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولفوز المستغفرين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. اللهم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا حنان يا منان يا من بيده ملك السماوات والأرض يا من إذا أراد شيئا قال له كن فيكون يا من أمره بين الكاف والنون. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. اللهم انصر إخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين وفي كل مكان يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا، اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا، اللهم ردنا إلى دينك ردا جميلا من غير محنة ولا عذاب يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم وحد صف المسلمين، اللهم وحد كلمة المسلمين. اللهم اغفر لنا واغفر لآبائنا ولمشايخنا ولمن له حق علينا ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك على ما تشاء قدير وبالإجابة جدير. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. Please wait just wait please. Just பண்ணுங்க please.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك
Pray and go inshallah. Okay, you can. Okay. You can come, no problem here. Okay, Saf.